Hello everyone, Tally and Farrell here from Board of It, and today we're going to be discussing Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, a wacky, competitive, cooperative tile-laying game born of a collaboration between Stonemaier Games and Bezier Games for between 2 and 7 players. Now when we say competitive cooperative, we don't mean that there are two ways to play. It is literally competitive and cooperative at the same time.
And this is because as you play, you will be building a castle with the person on your left and the person on your right. Most of the gameplay will consist of drafting tiles, putting them into your castles and debating with the other players where best to put them, where you can best score points from them. But you secretly want to be crowned the best castle maker because the Mad King will be coming around at the end of the game and assessing your castles. And you'll only receive the points for your worst castle. So the player who wins will be the player who has made the best worst castle.
Now, this is a hybrid game of the castles of Mad King Ludwig and Between Two Cities, neither of which we've actually played. So you can consider this review a clean review where we'll be reviewing the game based on its own merits. But before we get into it, and we'd just like to state for our professional integrity that we were very kindly sent a copy of the game to review by Stonemaier Games.
Playing Between Two Castles is exceedingly simple. You'll begin with a throne room that you share with the player on your left and another one that you share with the player on your right. This is the foundation for your castle. You'll also begin with a stack of 9 room tiles, which you'll look through, and you'll pick one of these rooms to play to the castle on your right, one to play to the castle on your left. Then you'll pass the remaining room tiles to your left.
There are a few different room types, each with different rules of scoring points. Sleeping rooms want you to have one of every other type of room, whereas food rooms want you to have a specific type of room to the left or the right of it, or it could even be above or below it. Outdoor spaces score for the number of a type of room that you have in your castles, whereas downstairs tiles score for a specific type of room above it.
After everyone has put down a tile to go to each one of their castles and pass their stack of tiles to the left, then you all simultaneously reveal and you'll discuss with your neighbours about which tiles to put where. Now this will continue until there is only one tile left in the stack, at which point you will eject all of the remaining tiles from the game and begin a second round with a new stack of 9 room tiles. And the only difference with the second round is that you'll pass the tiles to the right instead of the left.
At the end of the second round, you'll score up. You'll go through room type by room type, scoring each room individually, then comparing each player's highest scoring worst castle. And the player with the highest scoring worst castle wins. Now, while the main game is for 3 to 7 players, there is a 2-player variant in which you have a ghost third player. In round 1, one player will randomly choose 2 tiles for the ghost player, but then they get to decide which tile goes to which castle. And in the second round, the other player takes over that role.
The first thing that will strike you when you play Between Two Castles is going to be the noise and the buzz in the air as you play. And this is because it's an awesome game for interaction, and all types of conversations are going to be breaking out across the table because people have to collaborate with their neighbours. They're going to be discussing what tile to put where, what bonuses they should go for, what their strategy in the future should be, what tiles to look out for, and so on. It's an incredible game for interaction where everybody is involved. Often when you play a game, maybe the focus will be on 1 or maybe 2 people at a time, and it might be that the focus is inwardly if you're playing a non-interactive Euro because you're just strategizing to yourself. But here, that's not the case. And really the reason we play games is to socialise and interact with our friends. And this is a tremendous vehicle for that.
What we will say though is this interaction will decrease the more familiar that you get with the game, particularly if you're avid board gamers. When you first play the game, it's all fresh and new and you really want to discuss everything. But when you play more than that, you know the ropes. So what kind of happens is you turn to one castle and say, well, I'm placing this tile here because it obviously should go there. And then the other player might say, well, actually, I already placed that one there because that has to be connected to that. Then you turn to your other castle and repeat the same. Often there's not too much to discuss and you're really just talking through it just so the other player knows what's going on in the castle. In terms of gameplay, we're really impressed that almost all of the room types are of equal value and usefulness. They combine to create an intriguing puzzle, giving players multiple options to take. And this branching style of game results in unique castles that are going to be special to you and that game. Often, you're just as likely to want to place one room type as another, and the only one that falls a little bit short for us is the orange utility rooms.
So the way these work are you get points for each connected room type in an unbroken chain of the room type that it demands. And these are just the kind of only ones that seem a lot more work than they're worth. It might just be us, but these seem to only be used as a last resort, or to fulfill the conditions of another tile rather than being picked for what they do. And yeah, they just fall a bit flat for us. But what we will say is that they kind of make up for it because they have one of the best bonuses of the game if you get 3 of them in your castle, as you get to pick 3 of these endgame bonus cards and keep 1. And these can be worth a lot of points. But yeah, as kind of a summary for us, it's just the one that doesn't really pull its weight. It's the odd one out.
Speaking of the special bonuses, these are a great addition to the gameplay. They're all different and innovative with their usefulness to your castle depending on your castle. They provide a lot of different strategies as you can focus on getting 3 or 5 of a kind of a room to score the special bonuses and score big points there, or focus on making your castle a well-oiled machine, daisy chaining rooms together for mad points, or a bit of both.
You know what worries me about the rooms is that I've never seen a toilet room. Keeping track of these bonuses can be a bit tricky. It's very easy in the heat of gameplay to miss that you've put down your 3rd or your 5th tile of a certain room type, either because they're spread all over the castle or just because you're really eager to turn to your other castle and see what's going on there. And it can also, if this happens, which it does, be a bit unfair. Because depending what you've placed in the interim, by the time you realise, you could be scoring more points for that bonus. Also, the scoring is a bit of a beast. It's tough. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to keep track of. It's very easy to miss a room or two, and you really have to go over it twice with a fine-tooth comb. And the issue is that many of our games have been so close scoring that missing a room or two would change the outcome. And this isn't a criticism of the game because it has a very excellent and clear score pad, very easy to use. It's done as well, I think, as it could be done. I don't know how you'd improve it. It's just the way the game is. And this great score pad doesn't really change the fact that if you're playing with your family or with people who aren't experienced board gamers, you definitely want the experienced board gamers to be scoring this up and double checking it.
Between Two Castles also occupies a bit of a strange area because it's a strategic game, but when it comes down to it, who wins is almost total luck. What tiles are in the game and whether they work with the tiles already in your castle is totally random. Plus, the tiles that you desperately need may never come up because they can be taken from you before they even get near you. Thus, it becomes about working with what you have rather than designing as best you can. And that's not to say that the drafting isn't important, because it certainly is. It's just that sometimes it feels like drafting with your hands tied behind your back, and the impact you have on your own castle can feel non-existent.
In essence, what we're trying to say is that Between Two Castles occupies a weird space because it's so intuitive, light and breezy. It's practically a party game of some sort. But because of its big box, and if you have a lot of players, it's a table hog, I feel like you'd struggle to introduce it to people or get people excited about it if they weren't already board gamers. You know, and I mean, like, if you went to a party and you had this under one arm and One Night Werewolf under the other arm, and they would just take a look at that box and the title and then instantly go for the much smaller other game. following on from this thought that Between Two Castles occupies a weird space in gaming, this isn't a game you'd want to play if you want to play a game and win it because of your own abilities. This is a game to play if you want to have fun with your friends and family. And speaking of family, this is the perfect game to play for families because all you have to do is on your turn pick 2 tiles. You could literally do it at random and the game would still progress. And this means that it's pretty great for anyone of any age. Everyone's going to feel included because of the discussions. And I can honestly say this is something I can see being at family gatherings in the future. And it just has something for everyone, whether they want to be competitive, cooperative, creative, or they just want to be included.
Plus, it goes up to 7 players. And because of the nature of this game, it's not going to add on much playtime. Because everyone plays simultaneously, it's always your turn, so it keeps everyone feeling engaged. It's also extremely intuitive, which is a comment we had from our friends when we taught them to play. Pretty much anyone is going to be able to pick this up and play super easily. Because you start with a throne room, which tells you which type of rooms you should build around it. You'll focus on those in the beginning, and then those rooms will tell you what they want around them, and then you're off.
So we've obviously been talking a lot about all this interaction with other players, and it's great with families and 7 players, but quite clearly none of this happens or occurs in the 2-player variant because there's only 2 of you. And this 2-player variant becomes much more like other tile-line games, and that is a quite relaxing, soothing affair as you work quietly on your own puzzle. The aspect of picking tiles for the other player when you play it too is quite interesting, but in reality, because you randomly pick 2, if one of them's good for your castle, it's going in your castle, and then it doesn't matter what the other is, whether it's good or bad for the other player. So to me, it falls a bit flat, but I think Tally's a bit more up on the 2-player variant.
Yeah, I actually quite like it because I quite like the aspect that you have a lot more control over your own castle. Maybe that's just because I'm a massive control freak. But obviously, I love playing with other players. Obviously, that's the main game and it is super fun. But I think the 2-player variant is pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to quickly talk about the art and the components. We are big fans of Game Trayz, so always happy when they are included in a game. Can't go wrong with them.
It's lightning quick to set up because of the Game Trayz, and storage is great, blah, blah, blah. Everything was said about Game Trayz before.
Super quick, super cool, love it.
Great presentation.
I also really love all of the artwork on all of the tiles because I think it's mostly unique, right? So even though you have...
not all.
Yeah, I think they are all unique. So even though you have, 7 or 8 types of rooms, I think it is, within those types, each room is unique. So here I have the 3 living rooms, but one's a sitting room, one's a vestibule, one's a study, each with unique artwork. And I think that's really nice and it's really cool. And I always love getting the tiles and studying them and seeing what's on there.
There's also some in-jokes as well, like you have a games room and it has Stonemaier games in it.
I love that.
Just stuff like that. It is... So the whole presentation and everything, there's kind of nothing at fault here, really. So if any aspect of this is top notch, and that's kind of the bottom line. Final thoughts? Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig is a great game to have if you want to play with your family, if you want to play with people who are a wide range of ages, if you want to play with a lot of people, or if you just want a lighter, more relaxing board game night. This game is quick to play, consistently engaging, and has charming art direction. You could do worse than have it in your collection.
However, it does occupy a weird space between party game and board game. If you're an avid board gamer, we can't see this being one that you would choose to get out over other games, particularly if you don't want luck to decide who the winner is. Also, it might be a hard sell at parties due to the size of the box and the space it will take up. That being said, we are super glad to have this in our collection going forward, and we really can't wait to play with our families next time we see them.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, we'd really, really appreciate it if you could give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment down below. Feel free to ask us anything about the game. And if you enjoy our content, it would mean the world to us if you could subscribe to our channel.
And even more to the dogs.
Absolutely. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching.